Hello everyone, and welcome to the first in a series of digital marketing webcasts hosted by Blue Sky Interactive. Today I intend to give some insight into making the most out of Facebook for your business. Let me start by introducing Blue Sky Interactive. We're an award-winning web design and digital marketing agency. We were established in 2002 when we purely specialised in web design, and since then we've grown to cover a full range of digital marketing services. This includes social media, and we've been refining and evolving our Facebook strategy for more than 4 years now. Because every webcast has to include statistics of some kind, I thought I'd start by demonstrating how important social media has grown to be. After all, 50% of social media users under the age of 35 follow their online friends' product and service recommendations. There's also growing evidence that trusted companies can be very influential on the audience of people who follow them. 93% of small businesses say that social media is an effective marketing technology tool, and this is the first-hand experience that really matters. Now for a word of caution before we move on to the presentation proper. This affects franchised and independent dealers alike, that is, manufacturers. A lot of your potential car dealer audience will be absorbed by car manufacturers, with followers preferring to follow the source of the updates. This is fine as long as you accept that you're unlikely to ever have the tens of thousands of active followers that manufacturers' Facebook pages will boast. Instead, you should look at it from the point of view of catering to your customers. A smaller basis, granted, but one that should be more important to your business in the long run. So then, we begin by preparing your page. What the page looks like is the first step to making it look smart, professional, and above all trustworthy. If you've already got an established Facebook page and are just looking to make the most of it, then I'd still have a think about what your page looks like. Ask colleagues or customers what they thought of it, and take advice if they have ideas for making the page look more appealing or professional. Firstly, before you go anywhere else, you have to make sure that the page has the relevant content and information. When you set up a page, it asks for all sorts of info, and at the very least a name, web address, telephone number and biography is vital. And then we're on to the visual branding. The header image, highlighted in green, is the largest space on the page, and you have to be careful not to encroach on anyone's copyright or trademarks. If you're in doubt, the best bet is not to use it. Ideally, this should be a stylish and eye-catching space demonstrating what your page is about. Up next is the logo, which is a great shape for our square Blue Sky logos, but a bit more awkward if you have a different shape. You'll need to find some way to integrate it here. And then finally, you can add individual tabs to your page. Our dealers often showcase their used car stock here, have a locations map or a page, or just an introductory tab that features videos, images and text. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this bit as there's enough technical stuff that it could take up an entire webcast all by itself. However, if you want to know how to set up these tabs or need help with designing one, then just drop me an email on the form below this video. A good example, should you want to have a look, is the Sinclair VW Facebook page that we set up and manage here at Blue Sky. You can see this at facebook.com/SinclairVW. So at this point, you have a Facebook page set up that looks great, has all the relevant information on it, and is essentially ready for business. And now you need to think about what is arguably the most important element of a social media strategy. Posting interesting, engaging content is one of the key ways of ensuring that your carefully cultivated audience, don't worry, I'll get into that in a minute, hang around and ideally respond to what you are posting. The first step is planning what you're going to say, and the approach we're advocating is putting together a marketing calendar. You can update this throughout the year, but it should be your central resource that makes it easier to coordinate all your social media and marketing efforts. This means that you have to do less ad hoc posts and makes Facebook less of a drain on your resources. To put together your social media calendar, there are 4 key elements that will need to be taken into consideration. Now, it's pretty much impossible to create a calendar just for Facebook, not in the timescales that most of us have for social media, that is. So I'm going to broaden this out to all of social media just for a little while. Firstly, you need to include your planned marketing events. That means new car launches, in-dealership events, and advert launches. Any big dates need to go into the calendar so that you know to produce social media content in the run-up to the event and during. This gives you a really good guide for what sort of things to talk about at any given time. Secondly, you need to plan in dealership participation. You've already got this covered if you're a single location dealer, but if you've got more than one showroom or it's particularly large, then ideally you want to get your colleagues involved. Scheduling in posts, updates, and contributions from team members adds some important personalization to your accounts. Customers can see the real people behind the brand name. This is one of the reasons that we encourage this even if we're doing full management of a Facebook page. Thirdly is about remembering that not everything can be scheduled. Ad hoc posts, updates about the weather, we are in Britain after all, and responding to conversations and inquiries from customers needs to be done regularly. And in the case of responses, within a maximum of a few hours of the comment being posted. And finally, your calendar should have a weekly plan, including a budget for promoting your content. But I'll go into how to make the most out of content sponsorship later in this presentation. Here's an example social media calendar. As you can see, it includes business quarters, selling cycles, seasons, holidays, events, product launches, and deadlines. It fills up fast, and just having a glance at it will give you an idea of something to post that day. I can't advocate more the benefits of having a well thought through social media calendar, but that's not all it's about. As touched on previously, teamwork is vital. Whether that's making sure that the team take a flattering handover shot when a customer collects their car, or that the person updating Facebook is actually kept in the loop with product news and marketing plans, it always comes down to that old chestnut. Communication, communication, communication. Ensuring that your employees or colleagues have a social media culture makes that everyone feel part of things. Ideally, you can recognise staff members' special achievements, be them work-related or more like completing a marathon, on the Facebook page, which will make for a happier team and a Facebook page with more interesting content. Then there is, of course, interaction. Facebook helps you to measure engagement. If you're signed in as an admin, you'll be able to see the Insights tab, which has a section telling you how many people engaged that week. And if you scroll down, you'll be able to see individual engagement figures for each post. Engagement basically means someone responding to something you've said on the page. Maybe they hit the like button, commented, or shared. The important thing to do is to put engagement-friendly content on your page. Photo posts are the post format most likely to get a response. Quite possibly because they show more obviously and visually in people's timelines. Further than that, keeping posts interesting and asking questions are also more likely to get people replying. And finally, this is where handover photos, done well, have a lot of potential. Imagine taking a photo of someone with a car, putting it on Facebook, asking them to tag themselves and giving them a Facebook business card with the link. Then they share it with their friends and it's had a mini viral effect to a very relevant audience. Thirdly, don't underestimate the power of networking with local businesses and partners. Whether an official team-up or just two like-minded companies finding a common ground, sharing posts between businesses with your combined audience helps you to reach more people and can make updates seem more trustworthy. This business networking can extend into celebrity sponsorships and more, sometimes paid and sometimes free. Finally, you can be quite clever with your posts and creatives, especially if you're planning on promoting your content using Facebook advertising. With photo posts, you have a nice visual space, and well thought through and designed images can really enhance it. Whether you have a designer to create something for you, or you have a Photoshop wizard in-house, use them. You can also upload your own images to accompany links, which can help to improve the creativity and professionalism of your page. So by this stage, ideally you've got a great-looking Facebook page, and it's filled with interesting and engaging content. You even feel familiar with the different ways you can lay out your posts. And all of this makes it completely natural to start worrying about whether anyone is actually reading what you're saying. Who is following your Facebook page is integral to getting the most out of it. Whilst engaging posts will gradually increase your audience, you don't want to be shouting into a pretty much empty room. The following are some of the key ways to network on a social network, making the most out of who is following you. Firstly, the obvious yet often overlooked place to go is to your customers. They're already sold on your business, and with some gentle massaging you should be able to maximise the chances of retaining their business down the line. It's with this in mind that customers are one of the most relevant audiences for your social media content, although they're often overlooked in favour of new sales, despite the fact that social media really isn't a sales medium. To ensure your customers follow your Facebook page, you'll need to try a number of things. Firstly, shout about the page. Put the link on your website, on your email footers, on business cards and in the showroom. Make it really obvious, and at the same time, ideally tell customers what the benefit is to following. Secondly, why not ask them to get involved? Tagging themselves in handover shots, for instance, as mentioned earlier. It's not all about existing customers, of course. Reaching new audiences is very tempting and useful from a branding and communication point of view. You will organically pick up non-customers in your followers via links on the website, but one way to increase followers on a larger scale is to promote your content. In fact, promoting is useful for existing followers too, as Facebook has clamped down a lot in recent years on how much content reaches a user's newsfeed. The result? Sometimes you have to pay to get seen. As a company, we manage a lot of Facebook posts, as well as completely separate Facebook advertising campaigns, and we always advocate that people put just a small budget aside to promote their posts on Facebook. It doesn't have to be hundreds, but giving your key posts each week a promoted boost to a wider audience is a good bet. Now, we simply don't have time to go through all the different Facebook advertising types, but here's a quick overview of what will matter from the point of view of your Facebook page. What you're seeing on the screen is the actual list of ad options that Facebook give you. Promoting your posts, as we've already mentioned, comes under the Page Post Engagement tab. Basically, this puts you in front of more people, and you can choose whether it goes to your existing audience, their network, that is, the people they're connected to, or prospects. You can do this directly from your Facebook page. Just click the little Boost Post button at the bottom right of your post once published, or the Boost Post button as you're writing. As well as pushing specific posts to a bigger audience, you can also boost page likes. This advertises your page to Facebook users, the list of which you can target as much as you want. These ads show in the newsfeed as well as on the more standard ads on the right-hand column of Facebook. You'll probably have seen them. You can get here from the Facebook advertising page, but also by selecting Promote Page on the Build Audience drop-down to the top right of the page. The final two ad types are getting into a bit more detail. They are essentially creating offer and event adverts. You can create offers and events in the same location as you'd post to your page. The three post type options you'll see will be status, photo, video, and offers and events. From that point, the ads are pretty obvious. You're pushing these events to a bigger audience and incentivizing their response. As for why it's necessary, well, brands are nowadays seeing posts reach less than 5% of fans. It's not fair, but Facebook is squeezing all the organic juice out of the network. Expecting everyone to follow your page whilst you just sit back probably isn't the best approach, which is why we've added being involved to the list. Social media is, after all, just a digital form of networking, and building strong relationships with people and brands is one of the best ways to increase the brand reach of your dealerships and to hopefully gather some recommendations. To do this properly, you should be reading and commenting on other businesses' Facebook posts and updates, liking their page and generally doing what you would do in real life, establishing relationships with complementary local businesses, of course. We've now covered most of the key elements of a Facebook page, but there's one large elephant in the room that we haven't touched on: complaints. As it happens, just 6% of comments on social media sites were negative, but we tend to notice them when they are. They're an inevitable part of social media because it's a place where people can contact brands they deal with, expecting a reasonably quick reply from a real person, without having to navigate all the slow and annoying standard complaint routes. What's important to remember is that most complaints, managed well, can be resolved, and more often than you think, ex-complainers will end up as real advocates of your business. When we deal with complaints on behalf of our clients, we follow a simple strategy. Don't get me wrong, you can easily mess up a reply by taking too long to respond or using the wrong tone of voice, but the theory itself is pretty simple. Firstly, reply fast. This is a holding post reassuring the user that you've seen their post and are looking into it. Step 2, actually look into it. You'd be amazed how often people leave a holding statement and then never follow up. Don't reinforce their negative impressions by making people chase you for feedback. And finally, respond, either on Facebook or ideally by picking up the phone. However you do it, make sure to post the resolution to Facebook so that other users can see how you dealt with it and draw their own conclusions about your business. There's nothing revelatory here, but you'd be amazed how rarely businesses do it right. Honesty, caring, and timeliness are the key things. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope it gave you some interesting insight into Facebook. If you have any more questions or would like to know more about Facebook or any of the social media services that we offer here at Blue Sky, you can just use the form below or call us on 0845 415 4853.